Hi everybody, and welcome to the 1000th day of the Yeti stroke Caligula. 1,000 days we won't forget in a hurry, but it's absolutely, totally impossible to keep up, let alone stay on top of what's unfolding. Right. Normally I write a few bullet points just to remind me to mention something, but this is just the last day of notes I've made. So where do you begin and end? It's impossible. So what I've decided to do is, while I'm shuffling, I'm just going to recap on some of the issues that have been breaking since I spoke to you last, but absolutely can't get to read on any of the things that were unfolding a few days ago even. It's just overwhelming. So I would like to pay a tribute to Marie Yovanovitch, because she obviously, I didn't see her testimony. I think we only got the written version afterwards, but it was obviously dignified and compelling. And I was impressed that several Democrat men came out and described it as moving. So obviously she made an impact. Fiona Hill, the Russian advisor, she's come and gone. Now, bizarrely, Giuliani, so much is happening with Giuliani. I don't know how he's managed the last couple of years. He must have woken up every morning thinking, who am I representing today? Because it turns out, I didn't realise, I don't know if you did, viewers, he has this other organisation called Giuliani Security or something. So he's been in bed with a lot of these players for much longer than we've realised. It's not just about Trump in that sense. So, apart from having Lav and Igor, he also has, as clients, where are they? A very interesting guy. He's a gold trader called Reza Zareb. Now, what's that all about? Well, we have that strange situation unfolding this week. Trump tweets that troops are coming out of northern Syria. There's a major backlash for Trump at home. And so the GOP and everyone are going, sanctions on Turkey. Rawr, smack their legs. Well, what does that actually mean on the ground? Lucky for Turkey that Giuliani already had in place Zareb, who works, gold trader, who works in getting around sanctions in Turkey and also around Iranian sanctions. This is deeply corrupt international stuff. Lest we forget, Flynn's charges revolve around Turkey. So I want to look again at Flynn today, because he's actually been so weird in that he spilled his guts to Mueller and got a very nice letter from Mueller saying, look, he's told us so much, don't go too hard on him. The judge described what he saw as bordering on treason, and I think he was right. But so what did he give Mueller? Mueller is also interested in investigating and has done the work on another of Giuliani's clients, Pavel Fuchs, a Ukrainian/Russian oligarch who donated millions of dollars to the inaugural stuff. So I think a lot of these things will come undone under campaign financing laws, So there is absolutely so much to cover. Bill Barr is at the centre of so much, but he didn't stop the arrest of Lav and Igor. I suppose he had to give some ground somewhere. So he also has not stopped Jeffrey Berman. Remember that name from SDNY, Jeffrey Berman. You'll hear more about him. It's such a target-rich environment, it's hard to know where to begin and end, viewers. But as Giuliani was being interviewed somewhere recently, he said, "You haven't even started on Romania yet." Romania. Now, was he having a little joke and pulling our leg? Or is there stuff in Romania? Who would know? There's also the dirty money from Lav Igor that went to Pete Sessions in Texas. And frankly, there isn't time to read on him. I just hope he gets caught up. But I do want to look at Rick DeSantis, because as we know, the GOP pulled out all the stops to keep him in Florida. And so I'm going to have a quick look at Rick DeSantis now. And then quickly at Barr, and then quickly at Flynn. So, Barr. It's extraordinary stuff, is it not, viewers? So Rick DeSantis has been given lifeline after lifeline. And that's without his own, let's say, local corruption. This is just the national stuff. Rick DeSantis, what is his future? Rick DeSantis, Florida. Work in progress. The key's in the lock. Oh, he's going to get a nasty surprise. The white chair. And the 10 of cups. Money protects, I have to say, in this case. I'm not seeing jail for him or anything dramatic. This is what I describe as the work in progress card here. So with the 3 of Pentacles, it's also group work. Someone, whether it was Mueller or these current investigations, has the key to what happened. See, these guys, the dominoes are starting to fall. The key is in the lock. The Page of Cups is a surprise news revealed by what's behind the closed door. He gets the white chair, which is not too bad in the context of this deck. So I think he'll be able to pull himself out of the fire. He gets the 10 of Cups. This is the intergenerational money card. The younger person, the older person, couple on the couch here. The good life. So I think money will protect him. I'll just do a clarifier on the final outcome, because I'm itching to get back to Flynn, and I want to do quite a substantial reading on Flynn. So here we go. We're still on DeSantis. Will DeSantis get away with it? Will DeSantis get away with it? Will DeSantis get away with it? So he's going to get a visit and a consolation prize. Okay. So an older woman is going to come to his aid. I don't know who that would be. It could be in his personal life, and we don't know. And he does get a consolation prize. So the consolation prize could be staying in his job. Be a fairly major consolation prize. So I think he'll be muddied and a bit bruised by this. But to my personal disappointment, I don't think it's going to be fatal. Hopefully it'll stick, you know, when he next goes for election, but that's a while away. Now, what else is happening here? We think it'll be a race, I think, between Trump throwing Giuliani under the bus and Giuliani throwing Trump. Who's going to get there first? But that's not the question du jour. I'm now looking at Barr, who's in the centre of all this stuff. There's also the 3 Ps, Pompeo, Pence and Perry. But this is Barr. I want a good feel on, can Barr keep these balls in the air, or is he going to go under? He'd have to be massively stressed at this point, no matter how hard-nosed he is. And again, these guys are not healthy. Pompeo, the Yeti, Giuliani, Barr, they could all end up together in the cardiac ward of Cedars-Sinai or something. Maybe they'll operate out of there. Okay, Barr. So with Barr, alright, be able to control the legs, outcome. Alright, so kicking off here, God, it's already 11 minutes, guys. The world. So this is the end of something big for Barr. But the implication with the world is it's been much more international than any of us have appreciated. Don't we forget we have the connections with Austria and that strange guy they all go to visit, the one who's in house arrest in Vienna. And yet all these guys of immense prestige and standing trot over to Vienna to visit this guy with his electronic monitor. I mean, please? Okay, sorry. Now, the next round is the deals that have been struck, the Two of Cups. But there's an exhaustion to this card. They're just exhausted. Trying to keep all these pacts intact is exhausting. Here comes the Soviet sledgehammer, smashing through the election system, smashing through Western democracy. These guys are individually and collectively responsible for promoting Putin's agenda. The Queen of Cups. Is this Mrs. Barr or another woman in the winds? I don't think it's Nancy. I don't think it's judicial. But this is another woman who has some influence on Barr or will have some influence on what happens to Barr. So if you have any clues, viewers, think about the Queen of Cups in relation to Barr. This is talking to reporters and the leaks. They're going to come out faster and stronger. This card is interesting. It doesn't look like much is going on, and that's because the figure is waiting. In conventional decks, the Three of Wands is waiting for your ship to come in. In this, it's waiting. It's waiting for the messages to be delivered at the next stage. Who's Barr actually working for? That hasn't occurred to me before. I thought Barr was just pushing his own agenda, but I just heard, who is Barr working for? Well, the King of Pentacles or the King of Money. Yes, he's working for Trump, but this is bigger than Trump. This is what we're beginning to see unfold. I think this is an affluent man of money. It could be Putin, but I think it's more likely an oligarch living overseas. There's that vibe there that isn't Russian. This is a Russian deck, and there are many more cards that would indicate Putin. This is more the oligarch in the lavish lifestyle somewhere else he's working for. Outcome for Barr. It all rests on trust. He has to trust the person shaving him, and you wouldn't want to be in that situation, would you, viewers? So to pull that story together, Barr's been playing both ends against the middle. He's been overreaching for quite some time, way beyond what we dreamt. And now He doesn't know who to trust. This is the real problem. He doesn't know who to trust. And these are vipers, you know, absolutely. And they now have to depend on each other, and they are all unreliable morally. See, this is what happens, isn't it? When you give up honour, when a handshake no longer means anything, when your name no longer is your passport to being believed, and so forth. They are now in this nest of vipers. Wow. It's closing in. The walls are closing in on all of it. But like I said many times, viewers, Trump is going to limp into next year. He's going to struggle and stumble into next year. Did I not say this on however many occasions? Even when people thought, oh, he'll be gone in August, September, October. You'd have to think now, looking at the calendar, he's going to fall over the line into next year. And even if the Dems put up articles of impeachment, he's not going to be there for the election. So whether that is because the craven Senate won't impeach him or whether he resigns, he won't be there for the election, so don't worry. It's more the problem of the GOP, how they're going to replace him and whether they're going to support Pence or someone new. So that's where I think all that's up to. But Flynn, who I'm going to read on now, is particularly insidious as a general of the US Armed Services to do what he did. Money from Turkey. And what else? So Flynn, then he's turned all mean and nasty and mad, and he's now got a lawyer who's going to pretend his client's innocent and carry on, and he's not cooperating now. Has someone got to Flynn? Has someone got to Flynn? Let's have a look. What's happening with Flynn? The tower. We could actually abort here and go for it. Regardless of what happens from this point, he has the tower. And he seriously deserves it. He's been shaken down. The Queen of Swords, you don't want to mess with her. Oh, interesting, he got this card as well. Originally, I was going to do a much more substantial reading on Flynn, but you know what, intrepid viewers? It's all here. The tower is over everything, meaning not just Flynn. This is what we're witnessing, the collapse of the collective tower. This whole house of cards, ha ha ha, for a tarot reader, this whole house of cards is coming down. In answer to my own question that I was mumbling as I was shuffling, yes, he was shaken down by a Soviet agent. Then comes the Queen of Swords, in a way symbolised by her knitting needles. I love it. So the legal system is going to put him in the hot seat. In another era, as the judge said a few months ago, his stuff is bordering on treason. And then he backed up a bit because the T word, you know, is very heavily laden. But she is coming in to say, it's like this woman's almost like a mafia mama. I want him taken out, you know. But in a legal sense, sorry, this screen's a bit weird. In a legal sense, his number's up. The card that we just got of having to trust someone with the scalpel, people trusted him. They trusted him as a US general to do the job, and he's let them down. This is his retribution circling around here. Just a moment, viewers. Sorry about the interruption. I'll be back. Now, while I'm shuffling, I have some good news personally, which is intrepid viewers will know I've been living out of a suitcase now for nearly 7 months, helping look after a family member, and finally I'll be able to go home in a couple of weeks. Awesome. I'm so excited. It also means I'm free to do more readings. So if you want a personal reading, please get in touch. The email's on every video. So, but now I want to ask the question, and I'm just going to ask the little cards. How are the Dems going to deal with these contempt episodes? How are they going to deal with those? How are the Dems going to deal with contempt? Let's have a look. Oh, sorry. Oh, bless them. Having to deal with egos. One more. All right. Now, on top, they get the lovely butterfly. This is the Dems representing hope and light, right? It's a very beautiful, pretty card. This is them against the odds, representing American hope and light. They've cast the net around the money. They're pulling in the net. How are they going to do it? They're waiting for the arrival of more information, right? There's the bambino here, the baby, but it's a strangely adult baby. It's like, what I'm hearing is Constitution. The baby is the Constitution. This is under their butterfly card. So the innocence of the child, but also meaning the purity of the Constitution. This question is about how they're going to deal with the contempt. So we have all these peacocks running around. I don't have to respond to a congressional subpoena, right? Because I don't want to. I won't. You can't make me. Right, they're dealing with peacock energy. So they're going to have to look here for an affiliation, meaning, I think, a legal affiliation, meaning something legal has to be brought down in their favour to compel witnesses. Let's keep going. Following the money, you'll get there in the end. Oh, jealousy and loss. This, I think, is the GOP experiencing, and those who have got subpoenas, jealousy and loss. Oh, celebration. What I keep hearing is they'll get there in the end. So the answer, which is a sort of non-answer but an answer, is don't worry. Even though we want the satisfaction of seeing someone in the holding cells, fines are pointless because they just get other people to pay their fines. I don't think we're going to see actual arrests here, but not to worry. They are following the money. The story will tell itself. And why it's a perfect dovetail, they have now changed their language. Have you noticed? Instead of saying, if you don't comply with this subpoena, like 2 weeks ago, they were saying, if you don't comply with this subpoena, you will be held in contempt of Congress. Now they are saying, if you don't comply with these subpoenas, it will be further evidence of obstruction. The difference in the language? They're going to go, okay, you don't want to appear? Fine, but it's going on your list. So I think that's actually the smartest in the end. Again, you have to take your hat off to Pelosi. So we won't have the satisfaction, I don't think, and I'd love to be wrong. I'd like to see a few of them going off with the Sergeant-at-Arms, but that's our mortal selves wanting that sort of physical reaction. But the bigger game is fine. They have a handle on the bigger game. So love you guys. Please get in touch if you want a general reading or a past life reading. Just drop me a line. Take care. Bye.